I gave my youth to the government, you know, I gave them 19 to 29. While everybody's out here partying, having a good time, I fucking spent 9 deployments overseas, bro. But the downtime that I did have is fucking chaos. So I joined the Army in March of 2004. I've always wanted to be in the military. I found it very fascinating, very interesting. Growing up out here, it was a little rough. I really did not see myself doing much of myself. So the military was definitely a way for me to get out and explore new options. And the first chance I had, I took it. We went out on a mission to kill or capture a Taliban commander. I was at the breach on the radio talking to higher, giving sit reps. As we were probably about 80% clear, I noticed that there was a little room upstairs, and 2 of my guys, they came. I'm like, hey, I need you and you to go up there and go clear that room. To be honest, I have no clue. I just told myself, you know what, let's go help them out. I'm gonna go help them out. I went up the stairs. As I came into the room, I seen that one of my guys was detaining Taliban commander. He was putting the flex cuffs on him. However, the other guy that was in there was fighting with the other Taliban commander. The guy tried to make a run to the door. He ran into me. As I was choking him, I brought him back into the room. He ended up with a grenade in his hand. He pulled the pin, he was able to drop it. It blew up literally right in front of us. The blast, it hit me so hard that it just threw me backwards. My mind was telling my body to move, but my body wouldn't respond. When the medic got to me and I got to see his light on my body, I was literally on my back on a pool of blood, arterial bleeding coming out from my armpit. My right quad and thigh were gone. It just looked like spaghetti. And at that moment, I remember I went into shock. You know, you talk about PTSD, you talk about being mentally breached. Mine was instantly. The minute I opened my eyes, I wasn't the same person. I wasn't the same person at all. I had so much rage, so much hate, but overall so much hurt. You know, I felt that I had literally like been almost like I got fucking raped. You got this dude that's physically fit, that's achieved so much in such a short amount of time, and now you can't even wipe your own ass, dude. Like that messes you up. I would cry and I would cry and I would be like, why did I have to go in that room? I should have made a right. I should have stayed at the breach. Why did I go in? And those thoughts would hunt me for weeks. Every time I closed my eyes, I would be back in that room. I don't think nobody went in there to try to help me out mentally at the time. Especially from us being in special operations, seeking help, I wouldn't say it's frowned upon, but you know, you have that mentality that you're weak. You want to be not only physically but mentally strong. That's part of our Ranger creed. If you seek for help, you know, it's like, oh, you're not mentally strong. You're a weak person, and that's not the truth. I think the strong people are the ones that actually acknowledge that there's something going on with them, and they go out and reach out for help. Well, with the struggles is everything started stacking up, and I was not getting any help. I didn't want to seek for help. The only help that I seeked was alcohol. With alcohol, I was able to cope. With alcohol, I was able to just erase everything. However, with alcohol, it only opened the door to bigger problems. I don't know what happened to me, but with alcohol and medication that I was taking for my injuries, one day I lost it. And I remember I started crying early in the morning. I had no clue. I just wanted to run my head through a fucking wall. I had a knife that somebody had just sent me for my birthday, and I had thought about just slitting my wrist with that, you know. Luckily, I reached out to UCLA Operation Mend, and they were able to help me out. They got me into rehab, because I did not know how to fucking cope with the PTSD at all. My alcoholism, I got in so bad that I no longer gave a shit about anything. I literally almost lost everything. I ended up living with one of my uncles. I went from having 2 houses to living on his couch, you know. that was rock bottom. But that wasn't the end of it, because rock bottom it's not just one day. I hit rock bottom for like a whole year, where I had no fucking money. I was just drinking and drinking and drinking. And finally, after about a year, I woke up, and I was 35 actually, and I was like, well, what am I doing with myself? Like, you're so much better than this, you know, like, you've been taught to do so much, to overcome so much, you know. I'm not gonna let this dictate, just like the enemy, I'm not gonna let the enemy dictate how I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna set the task, conditions, and standards on how I'm gonna fight. Same thing with life. So I got off my ass, dude. I went back to school. I started saving my money. I moved out of my uncle's house. I got my own apartment, and everything just started flowing, man. As long as I stayed away from alcohol. I went back to church. So I was I was accountable to someone, to something, and I got rid of all my friends that were no good. You know, I stopped hanging out with them, and everything slowly started coming falling into place.
I think his body could no longer tolerate the self-medicating, and then reality sets in. Oscar's a very caring person. He carries the weight of the world on his shoulders, and so reality will set in, and he's like, you know, I gotta snap out of this. And just kind of seeing how he struggles with bouncing back, it's hard to see him go through that. But then at the same time, this man bounces back like no other. And so it's kind of like a double whammy, you know, because each time he does bounce back, it's almost like an excuse. Well, I bounced back last time. It's like, no, there has to be a healthier coping mechanism.
Well, I slip up. I've slipped up many times. I think with me, anger. There's certain type of angers that will intensify. Like, once I feel like either I've been disrespected or it's just gone over, it is so easy for me to just go back to the alcohol. I'll detach from my family, society. I'll either come here to my house and I'll just drink for about a week straight till I feel that, okay, it's time to go back to the real world. Sometimes too, it could be you feel accomplished. There's times that everything's going good for me. I've had a solid month, and then I tell myself, you deserve a drink today. You earned it. That first drink is gonna lead to about a week to 2 weeks of a binger, and it's not good, man.
When he does get triggered, it kind of sends him into like a spiraling or crashing out. I can only imagine the voices that he must hear in his head, or the reflections that he goes back to. And then when he does kind of fall back, it's like I lose my human. I lose him because the self-medicating takes over. He's a completely different person.
I mean, she helps me out tremendously. You know, she does a lot of stuff that, you know, goes unseen. You tend to push the people closest to you. They get the blast of the real you know, because a lot of people outside, they just see you as, oh, he's a happy guy, oh, he's whatever. But no, they don't get to see what goes behind closed doors. You know, there's times that I'm tired. My anxiety's off the roof, you know, and I don't know how to cope with it. I won't talk to anybody else about it, but I always lean to her. I'll tell her, hey, like, this is what's going on. This is how I feel, you know, and she'll give me words of wisdom and encouragement. She's also been through a lot in her life, so I know that she's a source that I can go to, and it's not gonna bullshit me, you know. She's not gonna tell me what I want to hear either. She'll give me either some words of encouragement, or she'll just tell me the truth, you know. She'll be like, dude, like, you need to suck it up. Your family needs you right now, and, you know. But she will help me out with whatever I need.
I definitely play a role in that. I have to make sure that our family stays afloat. Luckily, he won't do these episodes when our kids are around, but it still impacts me because, like, he's my partner. We do everything together. And when he does go back, it's like I go back with him. Lifting him out of it is not impossible because I've done it many times, but it does really affect me because it's difficult to see him in one light and then the extreme of when he falls back.
PTSD is definitely a daily struggle because you don't know how you're going to wake up. You could wake up in a bad mood, you know, and take it out on the wrong person. Or, you know, you have those intrusive thoughts that, okay, you know, I'm not feeling a certain way. Maybe I'm going to go get a fucking drink. Or you can also make that call like, you know what, I don't need a drink today. Maybe I'm going to go to the gym. And for me, like, mentally, that helps me out, you know.
We met through a gym. We were introduced to a mutual friend, and he said, hey, I know this guy named Oskar too, but it's spelled weird, it's with a K. And he introduced me because he was a veteran, and we just connected from like day one.
Well, if you've never worked out with him, he's a beast. He's a beast in the gym. He gives it 100%. Outside of his limitations with his disabilities and not having full range of motion and use of, his arm and his hand, his foot. And it inspires me because I don't have those limitations. And sometimes it might be this limitation where I feel like maybe I can't do it. And then I look at him and I'm like, what is stopping me? This man gets up every single day outside of his circumstances and he makes it happen. So he definitely is somebody that pushes me at the gym.
We would talk about a lot of things, and in the beginning it was just, jokes and like, hey, this and that and the other, until I started really seeing him change certain ways. His character would change a little bit, his demeanor would change. Being a veteran and understanding what PTSD is like, I was playing both. Where like, okay, he might need some space, but there's situations where I would reach out and say, hey, are you good? And give me a thumbs up. And so we would communicate that way. But I do know that he would go in some dark places. And as a master resilience trainer in the military and also a battle buddy for him, I would want to understand him better and also be supportive as well.
Since I was in high school, I would talk to my friends about one day I'm gonna own a barbershop. I learned how to cut hair when I was in high school. So by the time I was in the military, I was cutting hair in Iraq, Afghanistan, in the barracks. So I had it down. I could cut hair decently, with what I had at the time. Now, fast forward, COVID hit, all the barbershops, everything was closed. So I remember one day somebody asked me, like, hey, who cuts your hair? I'm like, I do. Can you give me a haircut? Absolutely. I cut his hair. He went to church. And everybody's like, who's cutting your hair? Oh, well, Brother Oskar. Oh, Brother Oskar. So from there, people started, hey, bro, can you cut my hair? So I started taking my hair clippers to church. The pastors finally gave me like the bathroom. So I started cutting hair there, and I told myself, you know what? Like, I can really get into this, like deep into this. Fast forward now, I'm cutting hair every day. But it's very therapeutic for me. I get to see clients. Not only do I get to hear their problems, I get to share some of my problems with them. We're both helping each other out, because sometimes I'm like, man, I'm having a bad day, and I hear what the guy that's sitting on my chair, I'm like, fuck, no, he's having a bad day. Mine's all right, And then you get to see the transformation that comes with it. But for me, it's therapeutic because I'm doing this throughout the whole time. It's a process. You get to see it from where it's all jacked up, and then boom, the final product. So for me, cutting hair, man, it's definitely therapeutic. I think it's a great way to relieve stress, and it's also challenging, so it's good. It helps me out a lot.
It gives me a lot of motivation for sure, because getting out of the Marine Corps, I stopped working out for a while. I stopped, doing all that. So I look up to Oskar, as a role model. There's times where he's not here, he's busy, he's doing his thing or whatever, and the barbershop's not the same, and even working with other barbers, it's not the same as working with Oskar, he just brings a different vibe to the barbershop. He's had his bad days that I've seen, his good days, but I think cutting hair is what helps him out a lot, keeps him busy, and he enjoys it, he enjoys it. It's really therapeutic. It's just like when we were in the military, just cleaning the weapons or whatever, it was really therapeutic to me. Same thing with cutting hair. I think that's what helps him.
At his best, I feel like we get closer to reaching our ultimate goals. I think for he and I collectively, we want to be able to one day minister to others. And I think we both have very powerful testimonies where we can impact many people. I feel like we do that every single day with the people that we encounter, whether that be the barber clients or my personal training clients. We have the platform where we can help others that may have been through similar or close situations.
Me personally, I know that God exists. I know he's real. And since I believe in a higher power, and believing is honestly in trusting, So even though I don't see him, I can feel him. And it gives me comfort knowing that he protects me, that he's with me, and that he accepts me good or bad. He's still there. Going to church just kept me grounded. You know, you got people that come from different backgrounds. You know, there is no Christian that just came to Christ. They either came because they were broken, hurt, left, cheated on, you name it, you know, or they just want to change. And that motivates me, you know, to continue. Because sometimes I feel like, oh, I've had it so bad, but some people have had it worse. Accountability. You got brothers that you talk to, or they come and check up on you. There's times, you know, that I just wanted to give in, and I would call one of my buddies and I'd be like, hey, brother Steve, you want to talk tonight? It could have been 2 a.m. We would be in San Pedro just walking by where the beach is at, you know, late at night, just talking of how I felt. And just by doing that, I was able to not drink. So accountability definitely in church, you know, obviously it's a spiritual thing. You have a connection, you believe in something else, and it definitely helps out.
To begin with, I just looked up to him from the beginning because of all his military experience, his military background. But now I just look up to him like as a big brother. You know, I struggled myself before, and he's there for me. You know, he's giving me advice. He's even let me borrow money when I've struggled with money. Oskar has always been there for me. Yeah, he's a really good friend.
Yeah, I would say, Oskar, you don't know this, but I've been meaning to tell you that I definitely am proud of you. You're a role model to me, even though I'm more senior than you. You definitely have given me some more tools for me to help myself. I'm watching your journey.
He goes, because people want to see consistency.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's been a lot for a while.
It's getting a lot better. Me personally, I'll be fully transparent because obviously I want people to see him. I want people to know that the man they're looking at I'm work in progress every single day. I used to snap a lot. I used to fucking be verbally, not physically, but verbally abusive. If I seen you in the street and you threw a piece of paper, hey, motherfucker, your mom doesn't work, you pick that shit up, dude. You know, like, I would try to police up the whole world. That got me nowhere, dude. With my kids, you know, they would do something and right away, like, I would snap, you know, like I'm back in the military, you know, like everything needs to be in order, and it's not that, you know. I gotta understand that I'm in the civilian world, and I can't police up everybody either, you know, so I gotta accept people for who they are and just drive on, you know. So with my family, with my kid, you know, like yesterday, perfect example, we were painting, and he accidentally touched the wall. Oh, daddy, he thought I was gonna react. I'm like, it's okay, dude, like, don't worry about it. Or he dropped something, I'm like, daddy, he thinks I'm gonna react, and I'm not. Not everything requires a reaction anymore. But that's something that I'm working with, even with my wife. We haven't fought as much. Do we still fight? Absolutely. You know, we're human, we're gonna clash. But it's the way you fight. Sometimes it's better to just walk away and keep your mouth shut than saying something you're gonna regret, or saying something that's just gonna spark up an even bigger issue. I'm working on that. I'm working on myself, and just I want to be a better person, you know, I do. But like they tell us in, you know, in AA, one day at a time. I can't fucking run unless I fucking crawl.
Done.
One more me.
Great job.
And one for the Airport Ranger in the sky.
Yeah, there we go.
The best advice I would tell anybody is, you know, if you can identify it, because a lot of people won't identify it. A lot of people are too lost in an addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, and whatnot. But if they can identify that they need help, I would definitely suggest that seeking for help, it's not a sign of weakness. Actually, seeking help, it's a sign of you being brave and man enough and mature enough to acknowledge that you need that help. Because you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting everybody else around you. The resources are out there. There's nonprofits out there. Nothing's gonna come to you. You just have to be proactive and go get it. Everything does get better, but one day at a time. You just gotta make that choice of seeking help.